Welcome to the Denver Coliseum in Denver, Colorado for the 2023 Men's and Women's USA Curling National Championships. Today's draw will be on the women's side of things. 8 teams playing a 7-game round robin. The winner of this tournament will advance to the 2023 Women's World Championships in Sandviken, Sweden. Here we look at the standings here, and we go back to who the commentators are. Thank you, John. Tyler George and USA Curling's Phil Drobnik on the call today. Phil, thanks for joining us once again.
Yeah, looking forward to it. We got a great battle here today.
Yeah, really looking forward to this one. 2 undefeated teams at the top of the standings. Team Peterson and Team Strouse both at 4-0. You see Sarah Anderson 3-1. Madison Bear and Kim Rhyme 2-2. Christine McMakin 1-3. And Miranda Scheel and Rachel Workin both 0-4, looking for their first wins. Phil, as we mentioned, this is a heavyweight tilt, old guard and new guard. Tabitha Peterson against Delaney Strouse.
Yeah, how fun is it to see these young ladies challenging the 2-time Olympic team for the U.S.?
Yeah, we see the lineups here for Team Strouse. Alternate Susan Dutt. Lead Rebecca Rogers. Second Sydney Mullaney. Third Anna O'Hara. Skip Delaney Strouse, coached by my sister, Courtney Benson. And on the other side, Team Peterson, these well-known names, our Olympic squad. Lead Tara Peterson. Second, Becca Hamilton. Third, Corey Teesey. And skip Tabitha Peterson, coached by Kathy Overton Clapham. Look around the other sheets for our matchups. Sheet A, Scheel versus Bear. Sheet B, Workin versus Rhyme. Sheet C, Anderson versus McMakin. And our feature game on Sheet D, Peterson versus Strouse. Phil, really excited for this game. With Strouse, this up-and-coming squad, coming off their bronze medal at the university games just a few weeks ago. And Team Peterson, curling royalty in the United States, our Olympic reps. Really get to measure yourself against the best of the best here. And I think this will be kind of a coming out party for people tuning in to see the Olympic squad, our young squad that's right at their heels right now.
Yeah, Delaney's had this game's circled on her calendar since the schedule came out. An opportunity for her to get up there, challenge Team Peterson. Show all the work that she's been doing and her teammates have been doing to prepare and to really let everyone know we're here. We're not going away, and we're going to challenge you for the 2026 games.
And anybody that knows Delaney Strouse, that sounds exactly like something she would say.
Yeah, it's she's got a great work ethic, and the whole team. They spend a lot of time in the gym. They spend a lot of time watching film off ice, and just been really happy to see the progression of this team and to see the results that they've been able to produce this year.
And a fun little sidebar for the game too, with the coaching matchup with, of course, my sister Courtney Benson and Kathy O. Kathy spent a lot of time with Team Strouse, with Courtney having her first child over the last year and taking some time away. Kathy stepped in and has done a lot of coaching with this team, so she's very familiar with Team Strouse too. But the friendly rivalry, you see the two laughing with each other behind the bench already.
Yeah, it is. It's Kathy was with Team Strouse out in Lake Placid for the World University Games and working with Courtney that week in the team. So no doubt Kathy's also had this one circled as well, because they've got that little friendly rivalry she's got with the lady she's playing against them.
Yeah, no competitive juices with those two coaches at all. A lot of curling trophies in their trophy cases as well. So Team Strouse will have hammer after winning the last shot draw before the game, and Team Peterson leading things off with Tara Peterson, looking to throw a tight center guard, start things off. Doesn't quite get to the center line, but will be just short. And no surprise from Delaney Strouse, as they do, going right underneath, trying to take control of the forefoot.
Yeah, offensive battle here today. I mean, Tab's known for her offensive play, controlling the top of the forefoot, and Delaney also not afraid to get into an offensive tilt of her own. So it's going to be who can control the top rings of the house and who can get positioning first.
And Phil, you talked about this team Strouse before the game started, and I had mentioned how ruthless they are with the draw game, which is a high compliment, but that they've gotten so much smarter with their game and that they know when to bail. They're a much better hit team than they've been the last season or two. So we do expect to see fireworks, but this team Strouse, maybe in even last season, would get themselves in a little more trouble with too much attacking and expect to see more of a cat and mouse game between these two now.
Yeah, they've really learned a lot over this last season. Kind of their first season out on tour. We forget about how much COVID affected teams like young teams like this and being able to tour around. So they've really been able to grow as a team this year.
Okay.
Tabitha Peterson's freeze attempt going a little deep. Phil, this morning's game for our feature game was also on the sheet D, and we saw, as we've seen for most of the week, that there was considerably more curl going towards sheet A than there was going towards sheet E in the wall. So that outturn that Tara just threw to the back of the eights, they took almost to the edge of the 8-foot for Broom and crossed that center line. That's exactly what we saw in the morning game, but straighter on the other side too. So we'll see if that holds up again for this draw.
Yeah, it did look much more manageable this morning in terms of across the board along all the sheets. More curl we're seeing today, which was expected, and I think that it's actually an opportunity for teams to start making those hack weight shots that we talked about yesterday that were really challenging to make earlier in the week.
Rebecca Rogers, second stone. Had one other game for Team Strouse earlier in the week, and I think the most impressive player on the sheet during that game was Rebecca Rogers. Just always seemed to be exactly where she needed to be with her draws and setting her team up, and two very good ones to start this game off too.
Yeah, she's a great lead, great position player. We've talked about it a couple times this week, Ty, how important it is for people to be able to really take that position seriously, not maybe want to get up the lineup, and Rebecca Rogers is just one of those players.
So with those two underneath the center guard, Tab Peterson playing the run back. They don't like this rock set up immediately, and don't blame Tab for playing this shot. They don't want to get into trouble early. Skates by on the peel. The run back attempt by Becca Hamilton. Delaney thinking maybe she wants to move these angles around a little bit.
Or less? 13?
I like less weight.
13?
Yeah.
It's a little outside the box call, Phil, early on with trying to chip
Nice
these
and
stones
easy.
around and change the angles. Maybe tap that one close to the red rock in the back of the 8-foot.
Having spent some time out in Lake Placid as well, prior to Courtney getting there with this team, thinking this is a plan of them having an end goal of playing a conservative deuce here. So they're trying to spread the rocks out. Don't want to have a lot of guards in play and give up a steal here.
Whoa, then, whoa,
A little different draw path on this shot with taking what they thought was more Broom, or more weight, less Broom, over curling and dying. And that's a track in your playing days and coaching days, I'm sure you remember, where you're right between the draw to the button and the center line. That tends to be a little bit slower at the start of the game because it's not a track you play in practice as much.
Not a lot of rocks go down that path in practice. And, I would say Delaney getting a little fortunate there. Not the shot they called, but not a bad spot for it to end up. She's got the hammer, ends up as kind of a corner guard, and Tab's forced to have to go chase this.
So Tabitha Peterson putting the broom down for the intern, at least double for Becca Hamilton. Not sure if it catches the back one for a triple, but they'd be very happy just to lose the top two. It does make the double on the top two, but still mostly buried in the top of the 4-foot for number one count. Looks like Delaney wants to split things up again. I agree with not just drawing on top of their own. Only other option would be to freeze on the back one in the back eights.
Yeah, that could be a tough little spot to get down to that back one and freeze it.
5. Probably.
Don't mind the draw to the back of the 8-foot either, but
Okay.
the draw to the open side is playing for the 2. The freeze to the back one is playing for the 3.
We'll see what kind of positioning she can get here. Really, this is all about line and where this rock ends up. Trying not to set up a double.
Similar line to what they threw, just on the opposite side this time for Sydney Mulaney. Would love to get this behind the tee line if they can. And this track should be a little quicker than the other side too, Phil, because it's a straighter line.
Okay. I got the same weight. 15-2.
Ended up short anyways,
Yeah,
said they had the same on the read.
Even if we just make the roll on top, that's pretty good. Right.
So Tab's still going to chase it because
I like that. Hey.
she wants to continue to have rocks in the rings, right, Ty?
Okay.
Yeah, and playing relatively conservative to start too, where they don't want Yellowstones to pile up in the house. Even hitting number 3 count gives you a couple of options with either having the double or the roll in, as you heard in the conversation.
Whoa.
So you can accomplish a couple different things with this shot.
Whoa. 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 Whoa.
Does just end up being a roll, but over rolls a little. Now might be a situation where that draw corner is the shot, and Delaney immediately sees that.
Yeah, opportunity here for her to lock another one in there. And
Okay.
I think that freeze is the right shot. Her initial read was good. And immediately, Phil, seeing, I have to be honest, something we didn't really see in the men's game the last draw, that Delaney is aware of this track being slower already in the first end of the game, playing the swing side, taking more broom, and knowing that it's going to be a little slower than the opposite side. So, again, experience, knowledge beyond what we expect from players at this point in their curling career.
yeah, it's definitely there. She's continuing to learn every time she's out on the ice and just becoming a better skip and really putting herself in position to win often because of the knowledge that she has about broom placement and line calling.
Ends up just bumping and sitting in a spot that probably leaves Team Peterson a pretty straightforward double. So rock just maybe a half a foot heavy and a hair wide.
Yeah, I like 9.
Let's go, Cor.
So just off nose to clear both of these yellows for Peterson. If it does cross, could end up sitting right on top of it. Both would be good results.
Hoping for this one to curl here.
Good.
And both yellows do go. Shooter rolls out, but decent position here for Team Peterson. Looks as though the freeze on the back stone will still be shot rock though, Phil.
Yeah, I think that she can lock one on here, force Tab to have to make one. And at this point, she's got to make sure she's got a path to the 4-foot, make sure she can score, and maybe she can get a half a shot out of Tab and sneak a deuce here on a skip's deuce.
You like the confidence here from Team Strouse too, though. A lot of teams might look at it and say, well, we got 3 reds in, 2 in the house. We might need to just bail and peel these out, but the center's open. And you're going to be throwing probably 3 draws on your next 3 if this plays out the way it should, with the 4-foot open for Strouse. Again, showing she's not afraid to take her opportunity to try to score more than 1 point.
And you got to like the opportunity to be able to throw some draws in the first end, get your feet wet.
That's good.
Ends up over curling for the freeze, but shot rock completely buried. So still a very good result. And that's, Phil, is a situation where you're not as concerned about going deep. You're just happy to have shot and be buried. We're going to listen to what Tab had to say, but quick conversation on that one.
Yeah.
It's like they're going to try to lock it right on.
See, John, I can barely.
Yeah.
So she's going to try to play the out-turn freeze here, right down to the yellow one. even if she ends up a little bit short, they did talk about that. And as long as she's got the line position, it'll be a good position for Team Peterson.
So outturn freeze attempt for Tab Peterson.
I think weight's pretty close.
They wouldn't mind if it stopped even in the top of the forefoot on this shot, but freeze would be a little bit safer play.
Sweeping hard on this one.
Really needs to go for weight.
Go, Tara, go!
That's going to be short and at a bad angle for Team Peterson. Phil, could be a sneaky 3 coming into play now with where that rock ended up.
I like
Yeah, opportunity here for Team Strouse for sure, especially for the way this curls.
I really like that
Yeah,
outturn
top
draw
house.
too.
Yeah. Even if we're like a piece buried over here, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think this is a spot tie where, as a team, it's the first end.
Maybe a little
You can
more
take a
on us.
little bit of a chance here and get this buried
Yeah,
and
as long as we're high.
really
I was
make
thinking
Tab
like
have to make a good one. And if she doesn't, you got a chance at 3.
The only
Yeah.
other thing would be like drawing.
Yeah, and they talked about throwing open too, Phil,
I
but
think
there
this
aren't
is
a
really
lot of
good
good
if we're in front
spots
of
to
the
throw
T-line,
that
but if you're
stone that
worried
doesn't
about
leave a
that,
double
then-
anyways.
I
And as
think
long as you're
little
gonna
less on a-
risk giving them a double, you may as well play the
Alright,
shot that gives you a
what'd you
chance
do
for
on hers?
3. And if you do bury this stone, if you get this in the top 4 or even T-line,
Okay.
you got a really good chance of coming up with a 3-point end. And you're not really afraid of leaving that freeze for Peterson because you're risking the possible freeze or steal or force against a 3 in the first. So getting this one buried, I think they got a really good chance of putting up a crooked end.
We're hearing 8 right away. Looks heavy.
Yeah, that really needs to hit the brakes. It does have another stone they can play back to. Not sure if it'll be shot.
I got
And it is actually still
right there.
shot rock. So fairly straightforward freeze for
Yeah.
Team
Do you know what
Peterson
Tab's time
to
was?
force to 1. But I think this is still a victory if you're Team Strouse, that you're making Tab Peterson throw a freeze against a possible 3 in the first with no risk involved at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I certainly like coming
high
deep
court
than I do coming up short and leaving Tab a center guard and then allowing Tab to come in there and maybe take a steal away. Tab's going to come right down to those yellow rocks. And if she does that, then likely Delaney just having to play that same shot that she just threw. Draw for 1.
So Tabitha Peterson's last shot of the first end, playing this outturn freeze.
Careful, careful, careful. Let it
Sweepers
work.
calling
let
6-7. Looked
7,
like
8.
there was a little bit of extra
it work.
rotation on that release. Phil.
7,
This,
8.
this may
8,
run a
9.
little bit,
This one's hanging a little bit.
and it's not getting to that path where
Gotta
it
curl.
curls either.
13-8.
Now finally turning over, but is it going to turn enough?
Careful, careful, careful. Good.
Yeah, there may still be a shot for 3 here. Delaney can see almost all of that stone. And that yellow wasn't going anywhere with that red rock behind it. So, Phil, I think if they get to nose with even control, this could be 3.
Yeah.
I do think I think that in particular in this situation, Ty, you can see all of that rock. I'd like to see them err on throwing a little bit harder
Sure.
because that rock is going to split off, and all they have to do is get close to the nose, and they're going to score 3. Where they're trying to play a shot here with 13, and if you don't hit it right, that red rock
Yeah, you
isn't
got
going to
it.
split off that much.
Right. Yeah, if they do indeed throw 13, I'm not sure that they can get more than 1. So last rock of this first end, Delaney Strouse. See how many they can come up with.
13. 13.
It will walk in there at the end.
Really needs to get close to that guard or rock in the top of the house to have a chance. Really turning over now. Can it get there? Does it spin enough? That's looks like it may just be 1 and maybe an inch away from 3. And Phil, as you mentioned, that hit the pretty much the spot. If they throw more weight,
Oh, yeah.
it spills off, and that's 3. But just didn't quite have enough weight to push that through. So does look to be just one for Delaney Strouse. Team Peterson dodges a bullet, and after one end of play, it will be. We're just waiting to see the score confirmed on the scoreboard. Indeed it is 1-0 Team Strouse after one. Second end of our feature draw here at the 2023 Women's USA Curling National Championships. Start of the second end means it's time to talk to you about
7.
our sponsor, Warm Room Hero.
Really good
Is your
back.
curling club website clunky and unworkable? Are you tired of your club relying on social media because your website just does not work for your members? Finally, the curling management software your club has been waiting for is here. Check out Warm Room Hero at curling.club today. And Phil, we mentioned right before that throw by
Careful.
Delaney that it was really difficult to make that shot with the weight she threw. When you have some space between the rocks that you're trying to avoid in the back, then playing it softer and trying to cross is the way to play it. But when it's frozen on another stone like that, you need to have more weight to get action off of that stone. So you don't need to hit it as good, you just need to hit it harder.
Yeah,
let's go.
kind of a misread there by Team Strouse with an opportunity there. But regardless, they were able to put a point up, and always important in that first end to be able to put a point up when you got the hammer and not feel like you gave one away to the other team.
And Delaney made it so good that even with that weight, she still almost made the shot.
Yeah, she
another
got
inch from
She
three.
got as close as she could to make it, and I timed it, and she even got a 12, but she was shooting for 13, and it still didn't move it enough. So
7.
Tara Peterson's first goes to the back of the 12-foot. That always dangerous rock in the back of the house, and that leads first when you have hammer.
something you always got to be cautious of as a skip when you don't have the hammer, making sure you keep aware, where is that rock, where are my rocks, just making sure that they don't get an opportunity to score a multiple with that rock in the back of the 12-foot.
Yeah. I'll
So
give it
top
to
of the 8-foot there for Rebecca Rogers. Pokes out a little bit on the other side. Tara Peterson second, playing the out turn. Looks to be just playing a freeze.
4 is good.
4-5. Line's good.
Line's really good. 4 is good.
Yep.
Yep, it's curling.
For line.
Keep it straight.
Yep.
Sounds as though we have
Hard,
both
Corey, keep it
Peterson
straight.
sisters mic'd up for this one.
You gotta go.
They do.
One over curls.
Sorry.
Just a little bit short as well.
What was
Yeah,
that
just
call?
light, I think, on that one. She wanted to be down to that
I
yellow
got
and
14-8, I think.
ended up coming up a little bit light. One thing, if we're listening, as I sat out and listened today in the crowd, I mean,
am I
you could
going?
hear skips saying, hurry today more often than they were yesterday where they were saying curl. We're just seeing more movement and, you know, like I said, rocks moving. They're able to make freezes, able to make hack weight shots. And, you know, that's a good thing to see for our championship.
Yeah, it's a good thing for the booth, too. Makes for more shot making, more shots possible to make. So you always like seeing teams able to make those hack weight, board weight shots. Adds for the drama of the game and more shot making.
Whoa.
This one looks like it's going to bounce off the top of the 8-foot. They were playing the freeze to the back stone on that shot. Just ends up a little bit short. But still, Team Peterson doesn't like the way these are set up already. And for the second time in 2 ends, they're bailing on second stones and trying to move things around. Becca Hamilton trying to play the double peel and possibly get a bonus on that second guard running back into the yellows in the house. This is curling early, need to hold it for line. Does not only make the run, but sticks behind a corner guard, so great result there from Hamilton.
Even a little clap there from Coach Kathy.
Don't see that one very often.
That was a pretty good shot there by Hamilton.
I can't tell you how good that shot has to be for Kathy to give you a clap.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. And not like I said, she not only got the run back, was able to roll it behind the guard, and now Team Peterson completely switches this end around.
Whoa! Push!
Sydney playing a little soft waiter here.
Ends up wrecking on their
disaster.
own stone. And now Team Peterson sitting 2, no center guards, only one corner, one buried under it. Really good setup, and Tab wisely just going to split things up in the house.
Yeah.
And with the way these rocks are set up, Phil, even though it's early in the end, it's going to be very difficult for Team Strouse to avoid giving up at least a 2.
Yeah, and when you've been in this position, Ty, as a skip, looking at this scenario, you're probably thinking, what can I do here just to limit them to 2, right? I mean, you don't want to give up 3 early in the game, and you're up by 1, so giving up a deuce here is not the end of the world.
Yeah, your main focus is that you're hitting the rocks you can see. That rock in the top 8-foot, unless you get to a point where you get a rollout from your opponent and there aren't any other rocks in the house, you're conceding that point right now because you have to hit the open ones and make sure that you don't give up more than that. Surprised they're not hitting the top one here, Phil, and trying to roll in and create maybe a double opportunity somewhere.
Yeah, I am surprised, and I actually did see Coach Courtney taking a picture of the situation, so I'm thinking
we know what that means.
We know what that means. It'll be a good discussion point after the game, but yeah, I think hitting that outside one, rolling it over, keeping everything in the center is a good move here for Strouse, but she's electing to play this back one, which is okay as well. It is still early in the end.
Yeah, they do sit second count playing it, but the rationale being that with 4 rocks to throw, you're just trying to move rocks to a point where you're going to have a double at some point. And hitting that back one really doesn't improve your chances of setting up a double with the next 3 shots.
Yeah, because we are getting down here with 3 rocks left. She has to make a double unless there's a miss by Team Peterson. Otherwise, she's giving up a 3.
Yep.
10-3.
This looks to be well thrown by Corey Tisi.
Let's even back.
Another
Nice
of
job,
Duluth's own. I never miss an opportunity to mention that either. If there's somebody who played in our club from our area, then they're going to get a mention. It's not as bad as Gemmel with New Jersey, but
well, it has been one of the hotbeds for curling in the last 10 years, definitely 10 to 15 years, producing number of world championships, Olympic medals, world medals. It's definitely had a great program in place there in Duluth, and a great junior program, and produced a lot of talent. So it's pretty much, you could say, the curling capital of the country right at this moment, and as far as producing talent.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be the one to say it, but sure. Yeah, I agree with that. So open hit and stick made by Anna O'Hara. Really, though, Team Peterson content just to continue trading these hits. I'm sure they'd like to roll away a little bit with this one with Corey Tisi's second. To take away the possible hit and roll for Delaney Strouse.
10-4. 10-5.
Yep, stay on it. A little bit of a flat turn.
Nice sweep.
Sticks right there. So there may be a roll to get under cover now for
I think we're throwing
Delaney
them well.
Strouse. Still shot rock. And Phil, even if you
Throwing them well.
roll all the way over and you're only half buried on the outside and sitting second, still better because you're out counting that rock in the top of the 12-foot in a position where it's difficult for Team Peterson to get to it.
All right.
Yeah, you got to play aggressive here and try to roll this one out. And like I said, even if it forces Team Peterson to change the turn, change the shot, maybe you get a half a shot, and you end up only giving up 2 instead of 3, which is something you don't want to do.
So Delaney Strouse is first here in the second end. Going to take an aggressive run at this roll. Looks to be very close. Oh, that's really good. Wow.
Beauty.
Buried underneath both. Shot rock. Great shot by Strouse.
That's not only a good throw, but it is a good sweep call as well, because as we've seen this week, it's tough to get them sweep calls perfectly, and they did that right there.
Yeah, credit to Anna O'Hara. Perfect sweep call there. Rolling that buried underneath and forcing Team Peterson now to have to play a freeze. If you get tight to that rock in the top 8, Phil, you probably could bump
It's going to be a slightly different path.
the yellow counter far enough to sit 2. Problem being that hit and roll would still be right there again if it bounces off. So likely just a freeze for Tab Peterson. In-turn draw.
72, I like it, but stay close.
Looking for a 14-3 hog to hog, according to Tara.
Wait till there.
Stay close.
Looks like it's turning over now.
4-4.
14-3-4.
Very nice.
And a great freeze there by Tab.
Right on it.
You'll see Delaney end up chasing it.
So it's not like it.
Same freeze.
Gotta love when the sweepers tell skipper to throw a 14-3, and she delivers a 14-3. It makes their job pretty easy.
Curls pretty hard.
Easy game. Hit the broom, throw the weight.
Yeah.
14.5 is good here.
Yeah.
So Strouse trying to get a
Tad bit.
Okay.
same path
Yeah.
as
same
Peterson.
thing, and it curled pretty hard, so.
Curl too, and we're like on the nose of it. That's fine.
Okay. Yep. Think it'll move.
Good
got it.
communication by that young team there, talking about where they can air, where they can put it in a good position.
Straight.
7, 8. 8, 9. 8, coming down.
8, 9. It's not bad as long as you're on that stone and you're not bouncing.
Camp out.
Line is really important now. Needs to die. If this sits open on the corner, there could be a shot for 4 for Team Peterson.
Yeah, nose hit. Nose hit for 4.
Looks like a nose, yep, for 4 points. That's just the one spot you can't be. Even if you're short, as long as the line is good,
It didn't go crazy.
you're not so
but
bad. But
It moved a bit.
that great freeze by Peterson setting this up.
Kind of wait. 9-5.
Shows the patience of the veteran Peterson.
9.5.
Team Strouse made a great shot, hit and roll, and
Yeah.
Tab having patience, just throwing the freeze down there, making it good, and
You got it.
forcing
We can hold ya.
Team Strouse to make one, and now having an opportunity to have a shot for 4.
So this will be an in-turn pass. I think I heard 9-5 initially from Peterson. Be surprised if they didn't throw a little more than that, just to make sure that that top stone spills. But stone on the way. Going a little down. This is close
Lines.
on line.
Whoa. Go, Corey.
And both go out. Will the shooter stick around?
Great.
And it does. So
It
that will
does.
be 4 for the Olympic representatives from the United States, Team Peterson. Phil Drobnik showing a 9-5 on the watch. Once again, dead on with what they were looking for from the shooter. So after 2 ends of play, Tabitha Peterson 4, Delaney Strouse 1. So beginning of the third end in our feature game here at the 2023 Women's USA Curling National Championships. Team Peterson with a 4-point end in the second to go up 4-1 on Team Strouse. And Phil, Strouse makes a fantastic shot on her first to force the freeze from Team Peterson, and then that last shot really just ended up in the one place you can't. You make that freeze, you're probably forcing the one, you end up short, you may be forcing a two, cornering that rock, leaving the nose double for four, just the worst spot it could end up.
Yeah, I think that's a shot where you go back as a team and you kind of look at that situation and maybe maybe it'd have been wise to take a little bit more time to discuss the placement of that stone. Had she come up light, there probably wouldn't have been an opportunity to score more than 2 points. Where if you come deep or you don't make the freeze perfectly, there is. So, learning opportunity there that they can go back and check that film out on that game.
And finding that balance on a shot like that where you know where you can't be, but you don't want to dwell on, don't do this. That comes from that communication. How can you speak to each teammate so that you're putting them in the best position to make the shot, but still avoid the disaster situation too? And really unfortunate because the perfect make and the worst spot were so close to each other on that.
That's a tough one, and I did hear the sweepers talk through with Delaney, and they asked for a 14-5, so that that's sweepable weight.
Take a look.
And just didn't end up and ended up a 14-1, so just more weight than they had hoped for.
So still early in the game, Team Strouse only trailing by 3. They get corner guard up, and now Tara Peterson with her second right into the house.
And Team Strouse, with this being a 10-end game, they really don't have to force the issue here. They just need to come up and put a deuce up and get a force and put a deuce up, and all of a sudden the game is tied. So if they can just continue to put twos up with the hammer and get forces, they'll be in good shape.
Rebecca Rogers, second throw of this end, playing the out-turn come-around draw on the corner guard.
Hard, straight. Line's good. 5, 4. Push.
Really need to go to bury this. Should be on the paint.
Okay, close. Good.
Carry that rock a long ways for the sweepers.
Yep. This path is nice.
Looking around the other sheets. On sheet A, Sheila and Bear trading singles to start the game, 1-1.
25.
Sheet B, Kim Rhyme leading,
Yeah.
Rachel Workin 2-1. Sheet C, Sarah Anderson leading Christine McMakin 2-1.
2.
And again, our feature sheet, Tabitha Peterson 4, Delaney Strouse 1. And guard attempt here by Rebecca Hamilton. Covers most of that top stone, Phil, but you may see Delaney have a little bit of a go and try to move these stones around as long as they can see the right side of the top one.
Or we can just freeze.
Yeah, she can try to. I think it's a good time to try to move those a little bit, or get position on them. Freeze is okay as well, but you really have to get your rock in a position where you can use it on your next one if you play that freeze.
Yeah, they are playing the freeze, and I think if this is anywhere near where they're trying to get to, then you may see another guard by Team Peterson or a refreeze. Little operator error there on the slide by Sydney Mulaney, but does recover enough to throw the stone. Let's see where it ends up afterwards.
Maybe I want to stick with this and bury it behind them too.
Yeah, that's the shot that you throw late in the game when you're trying to find a 3. It would be a really good one in that situation. Now you see Tab kind of shaking her head a little bit like, okay, well, now I'm not quite sure what to do.
Yeah, probably an opportunity for Hamilton here to maybe get all 3 yellows out of the rings here. Hits it a little bit
right. Yeah, if they hit this just right, that all 3 could go. And possibly roll to another center guard at the same time.
See if she can repeat her setup from the last end.
Here is Becca Hamilton playing the run. Sweepers on this immediately. Looks like it's already crossed that stone.
Ooh.
Ooh, a little fortunate there.
Behind her.
Yeah, I think she got away with one there.
Yeah, crosses to the wrong side, still gets the raised takeout, and narrowly avoids losing one of their own stones.
I don't even hate that. 11-5? Or do you like 10-5?
I like 10-5 for
So
the
Delaney's
roll.
continuing with that same theory of chasing the rock in the back instead of the rock in the front. So she's going to chase the one in the back of the forefoot here and try to roll under instead of maybe playing the rock in the top of the forefoot and rolling on top of the one in the back of the forefoot.
Yeah, the top stone is definitely the one that's going to hurt you more. This is going to be really close to that top stone now.
Whoa. Good.
Hits and rolls to the open.
Just knows. Well, I don't want them to roll, but.
Yeah. 10-5. Okay.
Tab's just going to eliminate rocks here. Try to roll a little bit to the middle.
Corey Teesey with her first of the third end, just playing intern open hit.
10, 9-5. Yep. 9-5.
Nose would be fine. Roll underneath also would be good.
9-5.
Hard, no roll, no roll.
Nice sweep back.
Rolls all the way across the open side once again. Would expect to see chasing the top one this time, but
15-5.
Strouse electing to play the freeze again, Phil.
Yeah, she's going to try to get herself in position here. You know, she's it's getting late in the end, so she's got to be a little bit careful. You know, that as we talked about earlier, Tab doesn't just walk up and say, "I'm going to throw another guard," potentially, if depending on where this ends up. So, looking to make the perfect freeze here.
If they do throw the guard, if this freeze is made, it's going to be really difficult for Strouse to figure out how to score more than 1 point. So I think you may see that if this is made, that Tab says, yeah, good enough for me. We'll just throw that guard up. But this one really curling hard. Comes out the other side, and it's cornered to be all right, but it looks like it's going right by.
A little more ice.
Looked like that one came out a little bit squared out of the hand there, which caused it to get quite. We haven't seen him curl quite as much as that one did, completely over curling by a whole rock.
Yeah, and that's the side that we expect to see that on too, coming across with that out turn going away towards sheet A.
11.
TC again with
Intern for our lefty O'Hara was.
Yes. Yeah, it's hard to say out turn or intern for talking about straight side, swing side, because so many of these players here are left-handers. We were talking before the game started. I don't think I've ever seen a nationals, at least, with so many left-handed players in it.
Yeah, we've got two on Team Strouse, right? Just alone, but yeah, a number of lefties out here. And we were joking that feels like there's almost one on every team.
Yeah, our feature game this morning, Team Sobering had 2 on their squad as well. And guys like John Landsteiner just don't feel that special anymore in a field like this.
Yep. Whoa. Yep. Whoa. Yep.
Trying to play a roll in here. Get her rock to touch the top of the button.
Cutting hard now, really need to sweep to hold. It's going to roll all the way to the back 12.
Well, I'm just in the wrong.
Team Peterson able to keep the pressure on now. We'll listen into Tab and Corey.
I don't hate it. Yeah, but then she's still got the whole 4-foot to draw too.
That's kind of my gut.
Or draw there if you don't want to hit it. Yeah, I don't like that they're 2, I guess.
I do enjoy being able to hear Tara talk throughout the game.
I like hitting it.
She is a great person to listen to. You know, she's very smart when it comes to her role and sweeping, and always has a lot of input. She's definitely a fun player to watch.
I know that her husband John Zimmer is watching right now, and John, we're in your shoes. You know, this is your life. listening to Tara the entire game
I just
now.
don't want to.
So they are electing to play the hit here and just eliminating the Yellowstone, that second shot.
Indeed.
Yeah, playing safe. I don't know that it would have been real risky to play the come around draw, possibly tap your own stone with the only guard being red and a lot of distance between that guard and the house. But
10.
discretion, better putter valor. Peterson with a 3-point lead, taking no chances. I think if that rock wasn't a biter on the back, they probably would play the draw too. Because there is a chance with 2 stones left for Strouse that they could hit that top one, roll open in front of that pile, maybe somehow bring that other one back into play with a jam.
Yeah, and she might even have an opportunity here to
I think just
I thought she,
right? If we
you know,
can
we've
do
been
that.
saying it since the start of the end, Ty, that rock in the top of the half in the top of the 4-foot could be the problem rock, and you know, they haven't moved that one, and you know, we'll see if it holds true at the end, but I still think it's a rock that, you know, is might not particularly be in a spot that might be helpful for Team Strauss.
Yeah, definitely a teaching point probably for Coach Benson that the rock above the tee line is the one that's going to hurt you later in the end if you leave it there. Had they hit that stone and it was just the one in the back 8, back 4, then you're not in near as much danger. And at the very least, that draw is open for you too.
Yeah, just opens up your playing area a little bit more.
So draw now for Delaney Strouse. Probably thinking she's drawing on her last 2. Trying to get to the back of the 4-foot here, playing the straighter side. Doesn't look like it's going to get around the top one. Doesn't bounce too much, so not a terrible spot, Phil.
No, it gives her options, and you know, Tab definitely has to deal with it. We'll listen in to see what Tab and Corey come up with here.
Yeah, I guess I don't have any of that.
Anywhere, really.
I like that.
Yep.
Huh?
Middle.
Why?
Another counter
We can come all the way
attempt
down
for
2 hours and be second.
Peterson, looks
I
like.
think.
You gotta get around that.
Sorry, John, I have to throw you under the bus. Text after that remark about listening to Tara all day. Says, I'm glad you feel my
'Cause,
pain.
yeah, if we come down and she comes down, she'd be not.
If you're going to text me that, John, you know I got to call it out on
If
the
we
air.
come all the way down to our own, we're second, correct? And then if she were to come down to us, I
Again,
don't think
that's
she'd be
Tara
first.
Peterson's husband, John.
Not if we're all the way down to it.
Good, really good communication here by Team Peterson and the hack, and really discussing where they want this to end up, where they can go if they need to.
4-2.
14-2 they're looking for.
Yeah, there's a pretty big area here, Phil, where this would be a good shot. As long as you don't somehow line up a triple.
70.
Is that red stone in the top of the 4s is mostly open.
Gotta go! 6! 6!
Sweeping this pretty hard early.
Hard!
Looking for a 14-2 and got a 14-6.
See if they can get it by.
Keep
Just
going.
clicks off.
Good sweep back
Yeah,
up.
good sweep.
I think it
Still ends up pretty good.
actually ends up in a pretty good position and doesn't leave a double for Team Strauss, and they're going to be forced to have to make a hit and roll for 1.
Yeah, I would have been curious to see, had that rock gotten by, where it ended up, if there would have been a triple available for Team Strauss. Clicking that rock, it does leave an open hit and roll in
Swap in.
for the 1 point, but it's possible if that would have gotten by, that it could have lined up some kind of triple opportunity for a 3. So instead, it'll be an in-turn hit and roll in for Delaney Strouse against 2. Just needs to roll into full 4s.
Sweeping this one early.
5 out of hand.
They're sweeping it hard. Looks like it's on the yellow one.
Yeah, it's definitely on the top one. They probably need to let this go to try to clear that. Well, still gets a tick and removes the second stone, so only a steal of 1. Good sweep there to hold that line. So after 3 ends of play, Tabitha Peterson 4, Delaney Strouse 1. Sorry, 5. That's tough math there, just adding 1. Tabitha Peterson 5, Delaney Strouse 1.
Twin Cities Orthopedics is ready to go with more doctors, specialty services, and convenient urgent care locations. Ready, set, TCO.
Beginning of the 4th end of our feature game between Tabitha Peterson and Delaney Strouse. Last 2 undefeated teams in this field. Team Peterson right now ahead 5-1. Phil, here's where you see the top teams really try to lock in, keep things open. But at the same time, we did see yesterday Team Peterson with a 6-1 lead on Team Workin give up a 4-point end to allow Workin back in the game.
Yeah, I think that I have a hunch we're not going to see that again this week. I know that they had a very direct conversation with Coach Kathy about those situations.
I would imagine. I would have liked to be a fly on the wall for that one.
And what they shouldn't and shouldn't do, and a learning opportunity, even for someone as veteran as Tab and the team, right? Because we always say it's not just on the skip when we make strategical errors.
440.
That rock from Rebecca Rogers ends up hogged.
It's definitely less.
She's had such a strong
You
week.
gotta go.
Go ahead then.
I think we'll give a little grace to her on one.
They gotta go.
Okay, go ahead.
Tara
Go
Peterson
ahead,
trying to
Good. Stay
Yep, keep it
Corey.
straight.
keep the pressure now on Team Strouse with a couple in the house. And then with that 4-point lead,
Yep.
definitely enough to continue to go in. Don't really
Whoa,
need
just leave it. Whoa.
guards.
Good sleeping.
That will be top 12.
It's been real exciting this year to be able to watch Corey really integrate herself onto this team. Just to see how they've come together. Corey and Tab were opponents, just as when you and John came together.
Sure.
And, locked head-to-head in the trials before, and Corey and Tab locking head-to-head in the trials last year. And
Pretty good.
being able to see Corey join this team and watch them grow as a team has been real fun this year. And I feel like they've really put just have become a real strong team together.
I talked with Tab up in Calgary at the Pan Continental Championships about Corey's addition to the team and what the transition has been like for the squad. And she had nothing but good things to say about Corey as a teammate and what she's done coming on board. And at that tournament too, while at the time we were having that conversation, Corey was playing as well as anybody in the field. So very easy time for Tab to be positive about that transition. But yeah, it is easy to see the parallels,
it's
of
nice
course,
and tight.
between
It's not
our
anything
squad
go a
from
little.
2014 to 2018 in this one with
Okay.
a team that had been in the
not
Olympics
quite yet.
prior, but looking to
That's there.
make a little adjustment to try to be
Good job.
the best they could, and different circumstances with Nina Roth taking some time away for family. And we say hi to Nina. I'm sure she's watching at home, living and dying with every shot. Watching's hard, isn't it, Nina? But yeah, to see the way that Corey has come on and accepted that role and really embraced, and I can definitely speak to this, the opportunity to just go out and make everything and have that skip pressure off your shoulders for a little bit and just enjoy the ride, make things as easy as you can on your skip. And the two of them have such great respect for each other from the games that they've played. So yeah, it's really easy to see those parallels. And you know, maybe a few years down the road, we see the same result, which would be great.
It was unique timing for them too, you know, as Corey skipped in her first world championship just back in April and had a, you know, played one of her best tournaments she's played skipping and really, you know, almost like a coming out for her skipping, and then taking this opportunity to, as you say, come in and just go and make shots for Tab was a great change for her.
Becca Hamlin playing the peel, just trying to keep things open. Straight peel on this rock. Should be able to roll that all the way off here. A good shot by Becca.
Nice hit, Corey.
We'll call that good enough.
Good enough, yeah, definitely eliminates that rock and is able to roll over far enough where that rock shouldn't cause them too much difficulty for the rest of the end.
You just got a smile from Kathy O up here to the booth. Real easy to smile with a 5-1 lead and your team playing well.
Yeah, undefeated and up 5-1 on the next, the other undefeated team. You got to be feeling pretty good about your week.
Clean.
And quite the turnaround from game one, where we had the game with Peterson and Bear. That Madison Bear really had the better part of the action for a good chunk of that game. But the first game of the tournament, always the one where you're trying to get your bearings, and took Team Peterson a little bit to get warmed up. But as they tend to do, the best teams find a way to win games, and getting the week kick-started with that battle of attrition, then coming out and winning the next 3 afterwards and looking great here too. Absolutely what you expect to see from Tabitha Peterson.
And I always think it's good for a team to get pushed early, to make them to have to feel those nerves and feel those pressures, so they're better prepared for it later in the week.
Get the roll, get the roll.
Hit and roll attempt here from Hamilton, ends up working as a guard, a biter in the top of the house.
Yeah.
Round the horn scores on sheet A. Madison Bear with a 3 in the third end to go up 4-1 on Miranda Shield. Sheet B, Rachel Workin and Kim Rhyme now tied at 2 after a steal of 1 in the third for Workin. Sheet C, Sarah Anderson with a 2 in the first and a 3 in the third, leading 5-1 on Christine McMakin. And our feature game again, Tabitha Peterson leading 5-1 on Delaney Strouse. Team Strouse really trying to get at least a 2, get themselves back in this game. Got some clutter up front that's congesting the middle a little bit, but trying to make this come around draw. This is Anna O'Hara. Great sweep here from Rogers and Mulaney to get that rock all the way to the top of the lid. Phil, I didn't think that one was getting there.
No, you know, those two are hard workers. They are definitely beasts on the broom. They sweep hard. They can make rocks curl. They can keep them straight. They can carry rocks, and it's good to see in a young team to have some fantastic sweepers that are helping you to make shots out there.
And in a game like this against a team where you need to be absolutely at your best and the little things matter so much, that's when you see that time in the gym coming into play. You know, getting by that guard by just the smallest little bit, carrying that rock an extra foot to get shot. You need those tiny little edges to be able to win games like this. And a great run back there by TC, making no mistake again.
Nice roll, Corey.
And that was an area, Phil, I thought when we watched this team play in Calgary, that Corey TC was better than I'd ever seen her with the upweight game, the run back game. I think the first game that we called of theirs, I think in the first 5 ends, Corey made 4 intern run backs. And I mean, for anybody in the world, that's a pretty good result. But you know, she's been known as more of a finesse player, but not that she couldn't make the upweight shots, but to see her excelling in an area that maybe she wasn't known as strong in shows, you know, the progress she's made as a player and the weapon she can be at this position for a team that has aspirations to get on the podium at the Worlds and the Olympics.
And we know how important that is, right? To be able to get yourselves on the podium at the world stages, you got to be well-rounded. You got to be able to make all the shots, and you know, she's bringing that for this team this year.
That draw to the back of the forefoot there by Anna O'Hara. Maybe shot rock too, it certainly looks to be. Again, the overhead view, but that's not a bad spot when you're trying to come back from 4 down. You need to find 2s and 3s, so burying that thing as far back as it is, yes, there is a freeze opportunity for Team Peterson if
Fine
they
with
choose
that.
to
I'm also
take
fine
it.
with the
But
run.
the only way you're getting a 3 is by playing shots like
Yeah,
that and forcing your opponent into chasing withdrawals.
Yeah, for sure. And
And all the way down to its
she's
fine,
getting her to
but
do
tough
it.
for
I
us
mean,
to do,
obviously,
right?
I think Tab
We just got to be
has no choice here probably, but to follow her down. But you know, does leave an opportunity here for Team Strauss to maybe make something to try to get a multiple.
So 4-5. Freeze is the call though.
Yep.
Okay.
So freezes the call.
And freeze is not a shot that Tab would choose to play unless it was necessary or the correct shot. If that rock stopped in the top of the 4-foot, they're probably playing the run back. But because it's that far back and
It's close.
really freezing to it is the same as making the run in essence. You're killing that stone. It's absolutely the right call. This one on the straighter side, gliding a little bit. They really hammered that sweep and maybe losing track of the fact that that side is a little bit straighter and faster, Phil.
Yeah, I think so. Just a little miscommunication on that shot and leaves Strauss an opening.
Yeah, 3 all of a sudden right back in the picture. I think Tab threw that pretty much exactly where she wanted to, but just a little extra sweep on that straighter line, faster line, and ends up carrying to the back 8s.
And we have found that this week where if you jump rocks or, you know, if you really tend to get rocks with extra rotation and you hit them early, there's no coming back.
Yep, half in the 4 here.
So extremely important shot here for Delaney Strouse. She can get a rock into the 4-foot here, maybe bring 3 into play. Her first of the 4th end. This one looks like it's got a little outward momentum too, Phil.
Yeah, this has got a lot of moving to do.
Trying to turn it over a little bit. I think the weight will come down, but needs to finish.
Got a curl. Get a piece, Barry.
Now starting to curl. Can they finish to bury? Does end up getting, I believe, second shot. It's a matter of how much they buried, and if Tab does have any kind of slash
Here,
at it.
Becca, move for a sec.
Got maybe half buried
Got about a
from the
third
hack,
of
I
it.
would say. You hear Tara
You want to
Peterson
hit it,
say
or you
only a
can
third
run.
open.
No. They're
Decision
only
time,
one,
though,
aren't
for Team
they?
Peterson.
No, they're sitting 1-2.
You sure?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotta love Tara questioning whether they're sitting 1-2 when she's down on the other end.
Yeah.
And her
sure?
sister's at the
From here, I'm not sure.
Being narrow and running theirs in.
That
It's
just,
not a real
We could
shot
do,
that
like,
jumps
the
out there,
tap.
Ty.
Or
no,
we could-
no. I mean, the first one that I would look at would be the in-turn tap, but if you don't make that, you're opening up the draw for 3.
Or we could pick this. Either like the run or the tap on the
There's also the straight run on the yellow, but if you hang, you could jam that into the rock in the top of the 4s. And with that 4-point lead, you really don't want to give up any opportunity for 3.
Yeah, I think if it's me, I'm just putting the broom on the edge of the rock on that yellow one and just playing the straight out turn pick, making her have to make a draw again for 2. She can see half a rock there,
Corey
Ty.
made this.
I don't think there's a problem to just pick that one right out.
I'm not playing it to hit because it's just jamming.
Right.
I can't play it into there. So we're either
Yeah, I'm sure
tapping
it's a
it
little questionable
we're
for
doing this.
Tab because Tara said they
Yeah,
can
I
only
mean, you
see
could
a
totally
third
pick
of that
that.
stone.
I'm
but
okay with that.
tap it.
we'll listen
Even
in a
if-
little more.
No, because we open up that way.
Yeah.
Which I guess isn't a
But
big
if you're
deal because
opening
it's
it
already
up, then
third shot.
yeah, you're just gonna be in here somewhere good.
But that tap, does that look any easier than the nose tap?
This tap does look easier.
But if I ever am light and I open it up,
Makes it easier
I
to
like
get 3.
the straight tap.
Okay.
I do too.
Let's do that. So you're throwing a couple.
Phil, we have to thank Joel Dietz because this is a good opportunity for a Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar break. Joel showed up with a truckload of it for the rest of this week.
Dr.
That's why
Pepper
he's
for
the
everyone.
best in the business.
What'd you say, back line?
So they've opted to play the raise on the
So-
top red one,
13-5.
Okay.
which is a long raise.
Heavy draw here.
That is not one that I was
manipulate it.
considering, I have to admit. Saw that it was there, but
Yeah.
that is a really long raise and very difficult. Their thought process, I suppose, is that with the other 2 shots we mentioned, that it could open up an opportunity for 3. I think this one probably
like
would
the
too,
weight.
though.
Wait's perfect.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised at the call. Tara trying to get this to turn over. He gets a nose for the tap. And it's not going to get there. Taps that into the top of the 12s, but open draw now for 3 points. Not real open. There's a pretty sizable port, but draw to the 4-foot for 3 for Delaney Strouse.
And a 3 that really came kind of out of nowhere. You know, Anna O'Hare making a out-turn draw to the back of the 4-foot, and all of a sudden a miss by Tab, and they've got an opportunity to get 3.
And that's one you have to be proud of as a commentator, Phil, when you talk about throwing that to the back of the 4s being the only way you can bring 3 into play, and here we are.
Here we are. Here's a shot for 3. Has to throw this draw perfectly, though. She does have to navigate this hole, and she does have to get all the way into the 4-foot.
I feel like it's max.
In
but I
turn
think
draw.
I probably want that.
You want a little less, or do you like this?
So let's do it.
Okay.
All right.
I was like, what?
14, 8, 7.
14-8.
Should get some good finish on this draw. This is a good, clean draw path. A little more swing. I don't think she quite got out to the broom there, Phil.
No, this
I
is
don't think
curling
they
right
need
away.
to carve this at all.
This
Looks
is
like
curling.
it's over curling already. I don't think this is going to get anywhere near.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't believe the broom. Didn't get out to it. But it is 2, we believe.
Can I take the
TC
rest?
taking one extra look just to make sure.
Well, Tara did tell her that it was close.
And they do concede the 2.
Watch out.
So Strouse with a missed opportunity for that 3-point end, but 2 will get them back into this game. The score after 4 ends now Peterson 5, Strouse 3.
The everyday person may not aspire to be a professional athlete or an Olympic athlete. You may just want to be the best person you can be. You just may want to sleep better. You may want to feel better. Thorne has many products that can support all of those things. So it's not just about performing or running faster or jumping higher. It's those little things that go into having a higher quality of life.
Start of the 5th end now. After Strouse gets their deuce to climb back into this. Score now Peterson 5-3. And Tyler George and Phil Drobnik in the booth. Phil, I know you're getting a little annoyed by people texting you and trying to get some airtime while we're watching. But
We leave a 1.
there's one in
Sure, but we're
particular that
really
really is
wide.
upset that they haven't been mentioned at this point.
Yeah, 2008 Junior World Champion Matt Prushik watching back at home texted us yesterday during the Schuster game, and we didn't get his shout out in yesterday, so I suppose it's time to give him a shout out now. The last World Junior Champion that we've
true.
had in the U.S. And you know, tuning in, these are all players that he played with at the same time, the Peterson girls, and played with Matt Hamilton and Chris Blythe. So shout out to Matt Prushik.
Not super
And Matt,
positive.
you know why we didn't mention you before this? We didn't feel like it.
Starting to
Good to
move.
hear from you, Poosh. So a center guard start the end from Team Strauss. That is on the center line, so cannot play the tick on that in the no-tick zone.
All right, freeze.
Right down to the top of the 4s for Tara Peterson and
Tapped right in front of the
Phil
rock.
Delaney Strouse calling a freeze already instead of a second guard. freeze is okay as long as it is frozen and couldn't be removed in that position. But a little bit of a risk not throwing the second guard.
I'm a bit surprised, actually. I think, based on the position of that first guard being a 1, good opportunity to throw a 3 here and really,
6, 7,
force the
got it,
play to the
girl.
center and give yourself
Okay.
maybe a better opportunity to get a
6,
steal.
coming down. Okay, line's okay.
And this has to be placed perfectly in order for Peterson to not chase it and try to bump it around.
Okay.
So it is almost completely buried, but I think you'll see Tab try to
Okay.
at least play to
Yeah.
that spot. I thought she'd maybe try to push that open even.
Yeah, I'm gonna give
With
you a
how
little
high
bit
that
less
guard
because
is.
corner freeze on that yellow. is
Have
okay.
2 in the house, even regardless of where your opponent's is, and that high guard, you're not really in any danger from the start, but she's electing to play the freeze, a little more aggressive again.
I simply think some of this
No.
that some of these skips are gun shy. They haven't been
it's
able to
all
make
there.
those shots early in the week. They haven't been able to throw the
It's all
soft
there.
break shots and get results. So they're a little bit gun shy today, even though the ice is curling a little bit more to call those
Right
shots.
here. Right here. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
This looks to be freezing on the top stone in the top 12s.
Nice, Judge. You're right.
Not a
I'm
bad
wrong.
result.
It's a pretty good
I'm good.
setup. Strouse may be tempted to come right around already now.
I think so.
'Cause when you have a center guard and then 2 cornered on each other in the top, it's almost like 3 guards.
20.
Because those rocks in the top of the house are staggered the way they are, you can't raise either one of them. You have to move those. So if you peel the top, then you also have to move the ones in the top of the 12s with another shot after that. So it'll take 3 shots to get to whatever stone Team Strouse throws here.
Important shot of this end. If you can get position in the back of the fort somewhere, back of the forefoot somewhere.
Sydney
Exactly.
Mulaney looking to get this around the rock in the top of the 12-foot. Just
ticks the
papers that rock.
That's fine. I have all that yellow.
So Tab going to take the opportunity here to peel the guard and leave that in the middle or chase one in the house.
I was expecting the peel, I
Yeah.
think, here, but
Well, the guard's so high.
I think we've expected every shot incorrectly this end, so expect the
far.
unexpected.
yeah.
I think you just peel
that's
for
fine.
now.
I don't hate that. We can too. I don't hate that.
I just think you're playing scoreboard at this point, Phil.
That's okay.
Up 2 with fifth end. The guard is the one that's going to hurt you more than
I
anything.
don't like that.
I don't mind this call,
mine.
actually. I mean, it sounds like these yellows go on to each other and ripping this and opening that up.
Yeah, it may be lined up that they both go.
I like it better than just hitting the open yellow one.
Let's do 9. Okay.
Yeah, that I didn't like at all. Leaving
Nine?
the guard and the 2 rocks cornered is not really helping you. So moving these around is probably a good thing. And if it is lined up,
9!
so they both go, then it probably is the correct shot.
Whoa!
We're gonna find out in a second if they are.
Curl, 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 curl! I was bailing.
Ooh, that one actually turned over and wrecked the guard. Again, the side we're seeing more curl. And that's the one thing that we've seen with hits that has surprised the skips especially is that turn that rocks take close to the center line, even with upweight shots.
I think I like the top.
On that particular turn going
Okay,
towards
like
sheet 8.
really honestly, just
Correct.
like back forward.
And it is a bit, we talked about it yesterday. It is, we have seen this all week in a lot of these spots on these sheets. Like they've kind of been consistent. So, it's getting to be the time of the week where eventually teams are going to pick up on some of this stuff. So Delaney Strouse going to play the in-turn draw here and try to promote that yellow one that Mulaney just threw and promote it up to the button.
Whoa! Oh, straight.
Sweeping to keep it straight right now.
Whoa.
It's curling in there, and she's got a nice line for the tap.
That's really good. And because those rocks are staggered in the front now,
Probably just sticks here though.
Tab doesn't have much
But I don't like
choice
the
but to
stagger.
move those, even though it's just sticking on that yellow stone.
You want to just nose it? Get rid of one yellow.
Yeah.
9.
I think think I would actually be inclined to throw the intern at this
It
one,
was close to
Ty,
9.
and just get a little
Same.
drag and make sure I clear everything out, opposed to throwing the out turn at it.
Yeah, you could move a few more stones by hitting that inside and having it drag a little bit. Anything high is just going to shoot right into that stone and stick, which is where it looks like it's going to be right now.
Good.
But on the flip side, starting to accumulate some red stones in the house too.
Yeah, Strouse definitely likely going to have to throw a guard or a little soft weight hit and roll here.
Yeah, you have to hit that stone, I think, because if you guard, look at the angles on those red rocks. That red right into the yellow.
Into the yellow. That's a pretty fortunate leave there for Team Peterson.
Couldn't be angled much better.
Yep.
So yeah, I think you need to move that stone.
She's
You want it
electing
all
to
the way
play
up
the,
here, it'll
the
curl.
guard, though, so once
Trust the
again,
brum.
we are incorrect. I do think with this being thirds first, Peterson likely to just come up and peel the guards, so I think she feels pretty comfortable knowing if she throws a guard up here, Peterson's likely going to peel it. So
Really curling, whoa.
Okay, over and up.
Seeing that curl
It's coming down.
on the out turn side for us, in turn side for Anna.
Good.
Maybe
that's fine.
over curling.
this is going to leave an opportunity for Peterson to come in there and hit that red stone now and probably put 4 stones in.
Yeah, and you could hit the red and roll under your own red too.
Does leave a pretty easy double peel here as well.
Love it.
Yeah, and the thought process behind the double peel is that no matter what Strouse throws on their next shot, there should be access to that rock. They can't take everything away. That high guard was blocking one spot, at least. The double wasn't there because of it. So now if these are both gone, you probably have to hit something with your Strouse after this.
Whoa.
Yeah, I like this call for Peterson and executed perfectly by DC.
Yeah,
Get
really
outta
nice
there.
double peel by Corey.
Another one? Yeah, I think you guard the red.
Let's say it's a pretty good setup here for red.
And calling for the guard again.
Bring it back.
Maybe a dangerous setup for Team Strouse. If
Yeah, this is definitely getting a little dicey for Strouse now.
Yeah.
Even though they're shot rock and third count, angles are playing pretty well for Team Peterson. Still 3 rocks to go.
Yeah, all the way out. You got it.
I still think if you ever hit that stone in the top of the 12-foot, the one in full 12s for red, and roll center, you could really mess those angles up for Team Peterson and get yourself out of a little trouble. And in the 5th end of this game too, Phil, yeah, you're down by 2 without hammer, but if you did get a force here, you still have 5 ends to play, down by 3. You managed to get a 2 in the 6th. It's a 1-point game. We're doing that curling math that we talk about. Take 2, give 1, take 2, give 1. They still have enough time left in this game to do that.
yeah, now in a situation
They make
where
the double off ours. That's totally fine.
they
too.
make the double here, and there's 4 red rocks in there, Ty.
Yeah, and 4 red rocks in bad spots for Team Strouse.
10.
And that rock is wide open with a little
Like
space.
that.
You can
You got
make
it.
this with just about any weight you want that's less than peel. I think normal would probably be the weight I would throw at this.
They throw in soft
9.
peel, I think.
9-2.
Nope, 9.
9-2, just a little more than normal.
Whoa. Whoa. Tara.
Looks pretty good.
Hi, Tara. Go. Go.
Curl just a little bit.
Let it go.
Well, actually gets the
Okay,
redirect off her hone.
It's a pretty good shot there and a pretty tough leave for Team Strouse.
The good ones get those breaks, Phil.
They say it's better to be lucky and good.
Yeah. What was I don't remember the athlete that said it. I think it was a golfer. Was it
How much extra space
maybe
do
Ben
you have?
Hogan say the harder I work, the luckier I get?
It might have been, yes.
Few inches. I don't know how to.
There.
Pretty much exactly there.
Strouse looking at the double here. can stick behind the guard.
If you have enough space to make that, it'd be a great shot. It's really tight to that guard, though. You could also make it off of the top one with the same shot.
So it's the time in the game where, you know, they really can't afford to give up two. Makes the number game that we talked about pretty tough. Any more than two puts the game almost out of reach. So she's got to really figure out where she can put this rock to help her on her next one, right? It's not always about getting positioning on getting shot rock with this zone. It's getting positioning with this stone. So she's going to try just to do that and make a little hit and roll and get another rock in the center.
That does help her that she's playing the swing turn. So if they can clear this stone and roll over, they may be able to get second count under the guard, which would be best case scenario right now.
A little bit more.
All right, you got it.
Yeah, she's got to be pretty happy after this shot if she's able to make this hit and roll and get second shot.
11.
Delaney Strouse is first here in the 5th end.
Yep.
Control weight, maybe closer to board with 11-5-12 now.
I think it's better.
It's not a bad result, sitting third, but undercover. Not looking at giving up 4 anymore.
Yeah, it's just a matter of here. What can Tab do? Probably got to just throw the intern draw under that red rock that was just moved over.
I don't have any of that yellow.
I don't know that that yellow rock is helping Team Strauss in terms of being able to play a tap on it, right?
No, there's not anything they can do with it right now. I mean, the only tap they could make would be the out turn coming around wide. Or I guess you could do it with the in turn too. Doesn't matter which turn. But tapping it to frozen. If that's the case, then you're still probably looking at giving up at least 2, depending on what Tab does here.
Honestly, would you ever just take this and throw it maybe in the back of the 8-foot?
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Right. Well, would we ever go here?
Like to put it where she
Would you
can't
ever go
freeze it
here?
and get shot.
But you only got to be full 8-foot.
I think I like around.
I think that is what they're looking at playing now too, is back 8s, where a freeze would be second count, and then you draw for 2 if they make that freeze and you go up 4.
I think that's
deep,
probably your safest shot. You
So
know, you could
ideally,
probably
like
throw
6?
it also maybe in the top of the 8-foot.
And if
But
it's deep, bring it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So either
4-6. That's what I
side
think.
4s or back 8s. See which they come up with here for Team Peterson. In-turn draw for Tab.
Out here, I don't think so. 5-6.
Go ahead if you need to.
Gotta go. 5.
it's the farthest one has been out so far, right?
5.
Yeah, I haven't seen a draw out that wide in this game yet. Speed looks
Come on,
to
you
be
got it,
pretty
you
much
got
the
it, you
same.
Go, go,
Gonna
go.
get another counter. It's a matter of how far they can go.
Good sleeping back.
Pretty good.
Pretty good leave there.
Is there ever a triple, Phil? I'm asking the wrong person. If there's 3 rocks in, then there's always a triple.
There's always
for
a
you.
triple. I don't think there's ever not a triple.
Going back to the Chris Perkovich days, there's 3 in play. They all go. Well, obviously you can get 2 of these out.
You can get 2.
But-
I do think it's a pretty challenging to maybe get that third one to leave the rings.
The nose double, Phil, at least makes the draw a little more difficult for Tab for 2,
Yeah. No.
Yes.
where they'd have to go out wide again, come around that stone.
Okay.
So that may be your best result, but I mean, you got to throw it pretty hard to make sure that second or the last red one goes, because playing the double here, in order to leave the shooter, the first rock you hit coming off of the second one would have to push the rock in the 4-foot all the way across the house to outcount it.
Don't hear much sweeping on this one.
You don't want to see this go right through the hole.
It's better.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Actually, if they sweep that a little bit, they might have got all 3. With where that hit, that still spun backwards.
It still did, yeah.
And that other one went off easy. So if they sweep that a touch, I think all 3 of them actually might have gone.
She didn't hit much of that one stone.
So it's a little bit less for
She only hit a sliver of
It
it.
went out pretty easy as well, though.
We can always ticky wicky.
You don't want to
I think same
blow
weight
it
will be
by
good.
trying to
This
get
is a
cute, but
more in path.
I think the triple might have been there. I don't have to convince you of that. I know. So last stone, Tab Peterson just drawing for 2.
Like
Trying to come between those 2 yellow stones.
6.
Line's good.
6, 7.
Looking for the same weight she just threw.
7.
This one
7.
taking a little turn here.
6, 7.
Wait
9.
only.
7, 8. Okay.
Looks to be
7, 8.
perfect.
Good.
Yep.
Well executed. And indeed will be 2 points for Team Peterson to take a 7-3 lead at our Warm Room Hero 5th end break. The intuitive curling club software that takes the stress out of schedules, registrations, and more. Warm Room Hero, a platform built for curlers by curlers. Check out Warm Room Hero at curling.club today.
Let's say you're in high school and there's a sport you like, but sometimes you think, it might be cool to try a new sport.
Twin Cities Orthopedics is ready to go with more doctors, specialty services, and convenient urgent care locations. Ready, set, TCO.
That's pretty close. Might need a little help.
Line's good. Full 4.
Yeah, it's kind of running. Line's good. Keep it straight.
Nice. 4-5. That was perfect rock. Good. Good judge.
Get some points, get Deuce up on the board, take some chances that they have to, and really force Tab to have to make shots. You know, you want to score your 2 with the hammer, and then have Tab throw against stones when you don't have the hammer. So we'll see if they can come out and put a couple points up in this end and carry it forward to the 7th end and take advantage of any opportunities that they have.
Always quicker after the break, John Landsteiner. That rock slides right into the rings. Easy decision for Tab Peterson to hit that rock. Tara Peterson made no mistake with hers, right to the top of the 4-foot.
Yep.
Seasoned vet.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Back up.
Nope.
Careful.
Whoa. Corey.
Yep.
Corey.
Open hit and stick for Tara.
Whoa,
Getting a chance to throw a hit. Rolls a little towards the center. Well executed by Tara.
And we got a correction from the last end from my father back at home that it was Gary Player who made the comment, the more I practice, the luckier I get.
Yeah, and that means that we are now relegated to the stands, Phil. And I believe we've nominated your father, Tim Drobnik, and my father, Tom George, to take our places in the broadcast booth. And I can assure everyone watching that there will be no lack of stories from old games from 20, 30, and 40 years ago, and anecdotes along with analysis and possibly a little bit of criticism for the players that are out on the sheet right now.
Right here.
Yeah, absolutely. They probably know a lot more about what's going on than us.
Easier. Yeah, I think so too.
Okay. 4-6.
Back to the game and on Becca's first stone.
Good corner guard there thrown by
Rebecca
Rebecca Rogers, recovering after that first one
6,
slid in the
7.
rings.
Let it work.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Right now.
Maybe. Yeah, wait, it's okay. It's coming down.
Tara's rock.
We're right there.
Wait, take a look.
Should have this one
there,
come
it's
down
there.
a little
Close
more,
line.
playing the
It's right on it.
in turn for the
it's there.
right-hander, going towards sheet A again.
Really nice, Rebecca.
Good job.
Good back.
Right down to that rock in the top of the forest for Hamilton.
Got to be pretty happy with this setup for Team Peterson.
Great start. And no staggered rocks, Phil, for Strouse to go around in the house either. We saw that come around on the rock in the 4-foot earlier in the game. Now you're getting into a area of the game where they actually may play a shot like that.
We talked a little bit about tactical plays in the last end, and here's another one where, just worth a discussion. Playing this rock to the center of the sheet here, or do you use your corner guard, draw one around the corner guard, and leave those rocks in there early in the end?
Yeah, I kind of like just peeling
A lot
it,
of people
actually.
never know when to use the corner guard.
Them.
And, your thoughts on
Let's just peel it
what
out.
someone from back home could be doing and when to use
if
that corner
it's
guard.
thick, but
Yeah, it's kind of 6 1/2 dozen
yeah.
on that shot, because you're not going to be able to score 3 going under that corner, obviously, but you're going to use it probably to score 3. So whether you do it now or you do it later in the end, if you make that freeze on the 2 rocks in the center that they were playing to, there's a pretty good chance that Tab's still peeling that corner anyways. So I think I probably would have gone into the corner first and then played the freeze on the rocks in the 4-foot second, but you're going to have to make both of those shots at some point. And if you do play the freeze, Tab peels the corner, then you're probably refreezing into that pile. So yeah, I don't think it was a right or wrong. I think the corner is probably the first one you play, but it is good to see Team Strouse playing the freeze as opposed to hitting any of those stones too.
Absolutely.
Trying to use them, and now they're doing the same again. And they have a really good pocket to draw into now, and that shot is made perfectly. So that yellow rock will take at least 2
know
shots
that
to
and get
remove,
rid of ours?
and that's the key.
What if we just freeze?
Huh?
I was a little surprised when
Freeze
Team
tap?
Peterson played
I
the
don't
hit
know. I
that
don't
they
think
elected to roll to
tap
the
for
middle
'em.
and
Yeah.
have more rocks to congest the middle and more freeze opportunities for Team Strouse. And now we see that's exactly what happened. And I think Tab maybe after this one came to a stop thought, yeah, I probably didn't need to have that rock in that pile in the middle.
Kind of surprising here to see them play another draw.
Might need a little help.
I thought they'd kind of try to free up that yellow stone so they could remove it on
Right
the
there,
next
little
one.
tap.
And I got to imagine
Block tap,
Coach
back
Kathy's
eight.
taking a couple of notes here.
Yeah, I think looking at that scoreboard, and that'll be the one thing that Kathy O circles immediately when they talk about this after is, yeah, what was the score when we tried to freeze onto that rock in the 4-foot when we had 4 rocks in the house already?
I guess if you look at,
I hesitate to mention how many are in the house after 5 throws, as we know the jinx that comes with these things. Is there a reason?
Ty, interesting angle set up on the other side over there. It does look like if you hit those red stones on the right side of the sheet that yellow will fly out. So I think Strouse recognizing that and trying to move some rocks around here a little bit to get some better angles.
Yeah, and you can throw a little bit of weight at this just because with so many rocks in there, you're not moving them very far, even throwing it a little harder. Really sweeping to try to make contact with that red one on the right side. I think that still may go out, playing the red,
Otherwise, this
yellow.
might
We're
spin,
still 1-2.
But it also might catch here.
Okay, so honest
That's
answer
red.
now, Phil.
Right.
That
that's a lot
which
of weight.
we can't mention
I just don't
about
know
what's
if it's
happening in the house right now. Are you
Yes,
thinking
we
about
probably
that
use
at
our
all as a
side
player?
for one, though.
In the national championships, you have a 4-point
Right.
lead. You have 5
Yeah,
stones in the
either
house
that
after
or-
throwing
or we
5.
Still play this.
Is
Yeah,
that
that's what
even
Corey
a
was
blip
saying.
on the radar for you right now?
No, I mean, not even thinking about it. I'm thinking about winning each game. And
I'm thinking about it right now.
Yeah.
as a player.
No, they're not thinking about that. And really,
So
their
we're
their
hitting the
goal is
yellow,
to
right?
win the game and
Yep.
be able to
Okay.
make sure that they can. And
Yep.
they're not going to play a shot to
All right,
to
let's
try
go.
to do the unthinkable of scoring an 8 in a,
See,
in a
now
national championship.
you said it now. See,
She's thrown a hit, so we can say that.
yeah, but she's hitting the yellow. These reds may not go out yet.
Go, go, go. Good, Corey.
Okay, now you can talk about it. Now that went out, but yes, we were trying not to talk about a possible 8-ender with 5 rocks in after 5.
Good throw there by TC, and really
Can we freeze that back?
kind of makes Strouse have to think about it and leaves a pretty easy run for Tab on her next.
Yeah, that is
Do
an
we ever straight
extremely
freeze it?
lonely yellow stone right now. Team Strauss with
that.
hammer.
You don't want to roll away and sit fifth. So. All right. 14-3 or 14. We're going
We
to the
talked
back pretty wide.
a couple draws ago
Anything back?
about 8-enders. Phil, do you have any on your resume?
Yeah.
I got 2. I stole one and scored one.
Yeah, small bump. Fine.
Steal of an 8. I don't have those. I have 2 of my own, but I basically had to hit the house on both of them.
I was not skipping on either of my 8-enders. The great Matt Perushik, who we just mentioned,
We
was
call
my
him out,
skip.
and then here's what happens. Jeez.
Yeah, and then we actually have an opportunity to use his name. Was the skip for one of mine with
All we had to do was wait another 10 minutes, and his name would have come up anyways now. Look at that, Poosh. You're a star today. That would be a fun thing to do for one of these draws, if we have a game where it's more of a blowout, and I don't consider this in that category yet. I think Strauss is definitely still in this game. But killing time a little bit, could ask people to text in or tweet in or type in the YouTube boxes if they have an 8-ender and what shot they made to get it. And then we can, you really don't get much fanfare for those things
Okay, wait.
outside of maybe a picture in the old curling news and then a patch. So
Patch,
maybe
yeah.
on a broadcast of the national championships, all the listeners could hear about your glory, your one moment with your
one
your 8
moment.
under.
So Tab is electing to play that run that we talked about.
Should be noted too that draw by Anna O'Hara was really good around the outside there too.
Great position.
We're too busy talking about ourselves to note that this player in the national championships makes an amazing draw. So, well done, Anna.
Good. Nice job.
Good,
Really
great
nice
shot.
run there. Didn't overthrow it, Phil. Just nice firm weight. Stick the shooter around, which is big on that shot. There is still a port for Strouse, but that rock in the top of the 12-foot, that shooter, makes this shot a lot more difficult.
It's a tight little hole, but there's definitely an opportunity to get through there and lay 2 behind guards.
I like that.
Good run straight. But you see though, that should be
Yeah, really good.
So this will be
I like it.
in-turn
Yeah,
pass
11-5
through the
here.
hole. Delaney Strouse to try to sit 2. With all those red ones in, it would still be yellow sitting 2 if Delaney can make this. It's very close. Now
Sweeping
it's
hard.
starting to turn over hard, though. Does get through. Great shot by Delaney.
Good call.
Really nice.
I like a 9 again.
She is quite the shot maker, Phil, and that's not for a young player. That's for any player. Fearless on the ice. Very well played.
She is. She works hard at it. She's, you know, these ladies are on the ice very often. I've had the opportunity to be on individual sessions with each of them, and all of these ladies that are on the ice this year, and spent a lot of time with Delaney trying to perfect that upweight game. And we've had a number of sessions doing that, and I'm confident every time she puts the broom down for a double takeout or for a run back that she's going to make it, because she's put a lot of time and effort into practicing that.
Tab Peterson throwing very similar run to what she just played. Would love to stick this. Trying to get it to turn over now.
Looks pretty good.
Sit. That's fine.
Does make the run. Rolls a little too far to sit count. I think yellow still won.
you can hit it.
Actually overswept it a little bit. They could have actually kept it straight and got it to go straight onto that yellow one and sit over there.
We can just hit it if we're not
Yeah, if
sure,
that's
though.
if they don't turn it over, maybe tear a little too strong.
Yeah.
But ends up spinning off. So
That looks like 10-5 ice.
Delaney hitting this stone, so either unsure of whose shot or they believe red is. So
10-5?
it'll be a hit and stick for 2 points for Team Strouse.
Nose or a little flop in.
Try to get back in this game.
You got it. Trust this. 10-5.
Out turn hit. Straighter path, Phil, even though it's across the center line. But
11!
Open hit 4-2.
11-5! 11! Yeah.
Rebecca Rogers really trying to hold this one. And rolls
Gonna
a little
roll
too far,
a
so
little too far.
will only be 1 for Team Strouse. After the 6th end of play now, Tabitha Peterson 7, Delaney Strouse 4.
Just because you're not a professional athlete doesn't mean that you should accept less. The beauty about what Thorne does is our product quality is the same whether they're in the athletic line or whether they're just for the everyday person. Thorne has kept true to never compromising on quality, never compromising on efficacy, never compromising on safety for not only athletes but for everyone who would use their products.
Start of the 7th end. We need to thank our friends at Floor Curl, USA Curling member clubs. Entitled to a 20% discount on any Floor Curl inflatable rink set. These rinks only take a minute to inflate or deflate and are the perfect way to promote your club at summer festivals, events, or anywhere you have a flat surface. No ice required. Visit usacurling.floorcurl.com and use the promo code FC Inflatable 20. That's usacurling.floorcurl.com. Promo code FC Inflatable 20.
Back up. Back up.
Go ahead,
Phil, there's a lot of flat surfaces here in this concourse. We could get some floor curling going during the games. And I think with the Coors Light flowing at these concession booths, maybe you could get some relatively competitive games going on the cement down here.
Yeah, I think they could. It would be make for some entertainment for some of the fans, and maybe in the later in the week they might look at doing something like that.
So I guess we're calling out Ryan and Steph LeDrew and Chad McMullen. We need some floor curl sets here. Get these people playing. Get them involved in the sport as they're watching. That first stone went into the rings again for Team Strouse, so Tara Peterson played hit and roll out. Strouse now back to the center guard.
I think it's a...
Tab going to throw that intern draw here.
A little bit of an ad. Okay, let it work.
Is it back?
Intern draw again, yes, for Tara Peterson, trying to come down to top 8s.
Back here?
And Phil, this type of shot, the come around the center guard, again, because the no tick zone rule, they can't play the tick. The reason that Team Peterson is playing that come around draw, they did come deep, is because that's where Team Strouse is going to go. It's not that you're trying to score with those stones as much as you know where your opponent's going to go, so you want to beat them to that position.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday in the Schuster game and even the day before in the Ruinen game and Smith game, that you want to be the first one in and beat them to it and make sure that they're positioning, you have a better position than they do. And, and in addition to that, Team Peterson likely going to walk up and peel that guard, and it leaves the sides open for them to throw peels to.
This one trying to turn over, but still gliding a little bit.
Really good
bounce
line.
off.
Perfect line. 13-5.
Just a little heavy.
Can you?
Yeah, we can peel. Yeah. Straight peel or back in? I think
Tab counting stones. Yes, we can peel. That's the 5th stone.
Yeah. Sometimes even the skips forget who's got the hammer in the end.
You really can't count on most of us to do that type of math anyways.
Go ahead. Yep, go. Go, 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 go,
Counting
go,
to
go.
5 is about as far as we go when we're playing.
nice throw.
Peel made easily by Becca Hamlin. Becca's had a strong game today, Phil.
I was just thinking that same thing. She's really put rocks in good positions. She's made some good runs and really set her team up to be able to get those multiples that they've gotten this game.
Sarah Anderson takes 3 on sheet C to go up 8-3 on Christine McMakin. A few of these scores starting to separate a little bit.
Line's good.
Team Strouse, nothing else to do here but throw up guards
Back
and
to center.
really try to give themselves an opportunity to
Good.
maybe get a half a shot out of Team Peterson and get something to draw around here.
Just a little tighter.
There are those scores on sheet A. Madison Bear leading 7-1 on Miranda Shield after taking 2 in the 5th and stealing 1 in the 6th. That 2 also was a steal.
Not as
Sheet B,
poppy.
Kim Rhyme up 5-3 on Rachel Workin. Workin has hammer in 7.
Good.
And as we mentioned, Sarah
Nice throw.
Anderson after that 3-point score in the 6th, leading Christine McMakin 8-3 after 6.
Kind of a game of peel and replace here.
Yeah, that first rock gliding into the rings for Team Strouse definitely affects your ability to steal, as Team Peterson was able to hit that rock, and instead of having 2 centers up to start the end, Team Strouse only would have 1. So steal gets much more difficult in that position, and I think if you're Tab, you're still keeping things as open as possible, hoping that maybe later in the end you can get a cheap 2 and maybe get off the ice a little early. But
Good.
most important thing, obviously, just keeping it as open as you can and avoiding the steal.
Yeah, and a 1-game day for the ladies today. They got through that grind of a day yesterday with 4 games. And back to a 1-game day for them today, and have their final 2 round-robin games tomorrow at 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. Local time.
A nice peel once again by Corey Teesey. And this type of game, too, Phil, with the lead for as long as they've had it, with that 4 in the second and the steal in the third. A lot of peels thrown, a lot of upweight shot thrown for Corey and for Becca, which it's kind of like a fine-tuning thing that you get to do, where you're still focused, but you're kind of relaxed and just getting to throw some shots that are simple, but really make you feel like your mechanics are in tune. And you keep that good rhythm of the game going, getting the hack quickly, throwing your shots. And I know when we were playing, and I know you knew this as a coach too, that when we were able to keep that pace going, and you feel like it's a well-oiled machine. You throw your shot, you get in your position, you do the little things, you get right back out there. And it's a lot easier to do when you're just playing these simple shots and you're not having to talk a lot about what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, our team in particular, Ty, talked about that a number of times when there were times when we weren't in a flow and what we needed to find our game and find our flow. And it really always came back to that pace of play, because when teams play with confidence, they play quicker. And when you can keep that pace of play up, it tends to allow you to find your flow a little bit easier.
Yeah, and the terminology is important on this too, psychologically speaking, that you don't say we want to play fast. You say we want to play with pace. It's much different. So you're playing with intention, but you're not attempting to go fast. So have you seen that a little bit, you think, this week with Team Schuster right now too, that maybe that flow just isn't quite there and they need to get that pace back a little bit?
I think we definitely saw that. I had the opportunity to watch that last game, and maybe had a couple shots that they didn't execute perfectly or didn't get in the right position, and Danny Casper was able to get the best of them. But I have no doubt that that game tonight that they have, that's going to be the key. If John can come out and play with confidence and get his pace of play and find his rhythm, he can typically play as good as he can play then.
I like that guard position right now from Delaney, and I like even throwing that guard one more time and making Tab have to peel this as opposed to coming in and giving them 2 chances to move those rocks around. Showing a lot of patience by Team Strouse. That's a situation where you see younger teams think, okay, we only have 2 shots left, so we have to go in now. But instead throwing that guard, because that's the only rock that could help you steal, and making Tab waste 1 more before you come in, likely tap that red rock back 6 inches and sit 2. Yeah, that's just a well thought out shot by Delaney Strouse.
Yeah, I agree. And now it's going to be important for her to think through this next shot. Where's the best placement of it? And I think really trying to lay 2, right?
Yeah, you're down by 3 without hammer, and the dead freeze, if you throw that, then they're actually looking at hitting and rolling away, it looks like. We were going to say the dead freeze, then Tab just freezes back, and she's only playing against 1. So I like that they're making Tab look at 2. I am a little surprised that they're not just tapping this stone back, and maybe Coach Benson will have some words about that one as well. Regardless, you have to make them look at 2. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, and I understand the thought process here is they're thinking if we can hit and roll to the outside of the 8 foot and really make her have to draw to no backing, maybe they can get a chance, because it would spread the backing out potentially.
I would expect that if they roll this away, that Tab hits that stone anyways, the number 1 counter. We'll see where the shooter ends up. will roll a little bit away. That may be the best spot to leave it if you're going to play the hit.
Yep.
But again, immediately Tab is playing that hit.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty. Even if
Yeah,
it
left
even if
in
it
is
curls up,
good,
she
but
can roll on to the yellow
no,
one.
this time, yeah. Okay.
But limiting their scoring and
10?
forcing them to 1 here.
Yeah, I like that.
So mission
hold
accomplished on
it.
that.
Just nose.
So out turn hit and stick for Tab Peterson. Again, as Phil mentioned, can cross this a little even and has a stopper rock behind the forefoot. So Tab probably just play control weight at this. 10-3 would be about control.
Whoa! Whoa!
Looks like they may need to use that stopper here.
Oh, you freaks. You guys
I
had
don't
me
know why
freaking.
they're freaks, but that's Tara. So with the 1-point score in the 7th end, Team Peterson now leads Team Strouse 8-4 after 7.
And we're back here in the 8th end with another sponsor shout out. Warm Room Hero is more than just the software. It's run by curlers dedicated to building long-term relationships with your club. Warm Room Hero provides continuous support to ensure your website exceeds your members' expectations. Check out Warm Room Hero today at curling.club for special event pricing. You
Well,
can
that's
see
as
the QR.
professional as it gets there. Phil giving me the old Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar break, too. Well done, partner.
Really tight.
Score is 8-4. Team Peterson.
Pretty tight.
Strouse with hammer here in the 8th. Tyler George and Phil Drobnik on the call. Phil, we're
Okay, whoa,
we're in that spot now in the 8th end where
Just a little tight.
for Delaney Strouse, you have to be thinking 3 almost no matter what. 2, you're still in the game, but very difficult to come back from a 2-point deficit without hammer with 2 ends to play.
Wait only.
Yeah, they've got to try to put rocks in positions and take chances in this end, and so we're going to probably see double corners, right? And likely them having to leave some red rocks around and not make moves until later in the end. So agreed that Delaney really likely to extend this game needs to put up 3 points to really have a good chance in this game. As predicted, we're seeing a second corner guard.
Just a little more. 2.5.
2 well thrown stones by Tara Peterson to start the end, too. Every bit as important as the rest in this end because eventually Team Strouse will have to move those stones around in order to score 3.
You're good. I think that's good. Good pair.
We do have a final on sheet A. Team Bear 8, Team Shield 1. So Team Bear continuing to move their way up the leaderboard.
Yeah, Team Bear really building confidence as the week goes, too. Spoke with Maddie a little earlier on, and
Yeah, I like
she
2.5, 3.
fully expects to be in that championship
No, we're there.
final.
We're all there.
And You know, I like the confidence of the team because anybody
really
here
tight.
should feel that way. That if you're at the national championships, yeah, we believe that we're contending for this title.
It's okay.
And we expect to be in the mix at the end of it. And performance
Nice
like
job.
that today obviously goes a long ways for Team Bear in trying to make that happen.
Ty, Team Bear won one of the qualifiers this season in Blaine to qualify for the event, and they weren't just the top qualifier in that event in Blaine. They actually won the event. How important is it, do you think, as a player and your mindset, to if you end up putting yourself in a championship game and knowing that you've won a championship game just this season to qualify yourself for nationals, you know, and she's one of the few teams in the field that's done that.
Being in that championship game, regardless of whether it's at a qualifier or the nationals, world championships, whichever it is, and succeeding in those positions means so much. So it's less about your opponent in those games than what did we do? Did we come through in the clutch? And I remember in 2020, in the junior nationals, Delaney Strouse, I believe in the national championship game, had a draw to the forefoot to win the game and missed, but then had the same shot in the extra end and made it. So I had a brief discussion with her after the game, congratulating her, telling her, I want you to remember that shot because you're going to be in this position again many times in your curling career, and you're going to think back to the fact that I made that shot when it mattered most. So I can call back to that and that feeling of I've been here, I've done it before, and I'm going to do it again. And same thing with playing in a qualifier final. That, okay, we've been in a position like this before, we performed well, we won the game. When we're in that position again, we expect to succeed. So you're absolutely right. Just having that experience in big games and coming through, that's the hardest thing about becoming a successful team is you have to do it the first time. You got to do it at least once before you get there. And until you do, there's always that little bit in the back of your mind that says, you know, we've never really won the big game. And that's completely human to think that way about it. So for anybody that thinks that those of us that have won a few championships just waltzed in and knew that we were going to do it from the start, no, it's we all have our doubts. We all feel like it's so much easier to do it once you've had that one big win under your belt. You just got to find the one first.
Got a curl.
Back to the featured game here, and Delaney's still trying to utilize them corner guards again, as we talked about in the beginning. And she's going to ignore the red stones and the rings, and she's going to try to get a couple of yellow stones in there and make a big shot on her last to try to get multiples.
Yep.
So 2 rocks in the house for Team Strouse, spreading things out a little bit.
9-5. Yeah, I like that.
Tab hitting the open one in the top of the 12s. Probably hoping that they can roll at least to the other side. Throwing enough weight that just in case it catches it thin, you may make that long double too.
Yep. Whoa. Whoa. Yep.
She's playing the long roll now.
Okay.
Will it stop?
Come on, spinner.
Sorry, Core.
Darn.
Tab doing the right thing, which we've seen veteran skips do, is to make sure they point out if they miss the sweep call, take the blame, let the thrower know you threw that really good. My mistake.
Yeah, got caught in between the 2 shots they were trying to play there, either the roll or the double, and ends up probably in the worst spot they could roll to, because that is under the corner guard, and now Anna O'Hara can follow that around. I guess they're hitting the number 1. I thought they might play the freeze first on that rock under the corner, but hitting this number 1 counter.
I think she's playing the freeze, isn't she? Yeah.
Got a curl.
Right the first time. Looked like she kind of came flying out there, but really need to go to get this to shot. The line's really good.
Real good line, just a little light.
Just short of it.
That's the old adage there. Even when you thought you were wrong, you were right.
Yeah.
In a way that it's
I think that's how you can tell you're getting a little punchy, and you might need a little more Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar.
So interesting position in this end. Tab's up by 4, but considering just playing a draw, because she's laying 1, 2, 4, and just throwing another rock in the rings to try to eliminate that 5th counter by that Team Strouse has, and maybe even potentially a third counter.
Okay. 4-5. Yeah, 4-6.
Looking to get this half buried.
Corey Teesey playing the out-turn draw.
I like it. 6.
I think it's all. I don't.
Close.
Completely buried, probably good enough on this line, too.
5. Take a look. Take a look.
3/4 buried, also good.
6.
Down to this one. Yep.
This is a little faster spot on the sheet.
Yep, for line. Yep, for line. Yep, for line. Okay, good.
Sit.
Yeah. Good.
Really good line on that shot, creates a good result, but there's a little bit of an in-off here, too.
I do think that red rock is likely going to end up jamming over in that mess of rocks on the side of the sheet, so it still end up pretty good for Team Peterson.
Yeah, there is a mess of stones over there that will prevent any of these rocks, or the top stone at least, from going out the side of the house.
I might actually just consider playing the thin double and leaving that red rock where it is to just eliminate 2 red rocks.
Whoa. Yeah, I agree. You may also get a chance if you move the back one.
She might make this.
Now. Yeah, if that would have gone straight into the side of that stone, pushed it, then it might have created an opportunity for that to bring both of those yellow stones into play. But yeah, I think the best result probably would have been playing the thin double to the back one and then maybe pushing the top one over. So possibly, and without the telestrator, this would be a tough one to draw up, but moving that over so that it sat next to the red one in the side of the house and maybe give yourself a chance at a double on those two. I'm sure kind of what nobody understands what we're talking about with that, but trust me when I say it would have been good.
We'll hold it.
So we're seeing like I think a board weight hit here, out-turn board weight hit, just trying to get to the nose of this yellow one and lay 3, or lay 1, 2, and 4.
And the most important thing there is that second counter really probably isn't going anywhere without some other rock somehow moving around. Really going hard on this one, though. I think this may be on the guard, Phil.
Yeah, she threw it a little softer than she wanted. But did guard that second counter of hers, and that is definitely locked in there pretty good. Only chance they'd maybe have is an in-turn double to get to loosen that up and on the left side of the sheet.
Yeah, it doesn't
Strouse looking at it and
it can be, but
playing that, then
yeah, that's fine.
Leaving your number 1 counter open, you're probably not scoring more than 2, even if you play that slash. So just playing the draw around the corner.
I'm sorry?
Do you like this ice?
Yeah.
I think your only chance, maybe, Phil, of getting rid of that stone and making the yellow in the 8-foot count is if Delaney makes this draw and then Tab noses the number 1 counter, there may be a double come across and push that red stone on the 8-foot out the side.
14-6.
Yeah.
So if you're Tab, I think you may even think about just hitting and rolling, either rolling away or rolling out, and never giving them that chance. Calling 4-5. They really need it to be at least a 5. Now they're calling 3. That one's just not going to get there.
440.
Yeah, you heard 440 for the split time, meaning 4.4 seconds when we're seeing
where do we want the
around
shooter to go?
4 probably for these draws most of the time.
Delaney does have just a little bit slower slide, similar to like a John Schuster. So I would say this week probably for Delaney, she's looking for a 20 in that situation, 15 to 20. There are some players, depending on drag, depending on how much they are on the top of their foot, what their split's going to be, and everyone's splits are slightly different. And Delaney's tend to be higher than most.
Tab Peterson playing the hit on this rock on the side of the button, sweeping this one early now too. Good sweep to hold there. It should nestle in the back of the 8-foot. So likely just a draw for one for Delaney Strouse, unless they see some circus shot that I don't.
I don't know if they have enough room there, Ty, to hit that red one and kind of slide it out sideways. Maybe for two. Doesn't look like it. Looks like they need another inch of space to be able to make a shot like that.
I think it hits it, right? Because it's higher. Yeah.
And they're looking at that yellow run back, but it's just a hair higher than that red, so it probably doesn't get by to make it anyways. So they will have to settle for a draw for one, despite all the rocks in the house.
Bite the 4, chunk.
Bite the 4. Sweepers are looking for a 14-7, did I hear them say?
Last stone on the way for Delaney Strouse. Needs to touch the 4-foot for one against two Team Peterson counters. Sweepers haven't laid a lick to it as of yet. Just gliding a little bit, slightly different path, starting to turn over. Getting in the slide path, will it hit the brakes? And does. Really hit the brakes hard there at the end.
That's a 14 hog dog.
So maybe losing a little bit of speed here now. But it is indeed 1 point for Team Strouse. Now Team Peterson leads 8-5 with hammer going to the 9th.
Twin Cities Orthopedics is ready to go with more doctors, specialty services, and convenient urgent care locations. Ready, set, TCO.
Okay.
Hey.
Ninth end of our feature game in the 2023 Women's USA Curling National Championships. Peterson leading Strouse 8-4. Phil, they're going to try to keep this as clean as they possibly can. 8-5, sorry. They just got that one up there now. I'm looking at the lower scoreboard instead of the big one. So it is 8-5, Peterson leading Strouse.
Careful. Let it work.
Still not able to tick that center, of course, because of the no-tick zone rule. So
we'll see if.
Go ahead, Phil.
I'm just going to see, Ty, if Delaney alters her strategy from the last time when we went in this, when she had an opportunity to throw double centers. I'm assuming we're going to see double centers this time and not coming into the rings.
Yeah, especially with that rock in the back of the 8-foot too. Should be a pretty straightforward call for Delaney Strouse to throw the second center. We do have another final on sheet C. Sarah Anderson with another steal of 2 in the 8th and a final of 11-3 over Christine McMakin.
3.
Phil, it seems as though we're kind of starting to see the expected contenders round into form now, and the scoreboard is really playing that out, especially with this round of games.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I mean, teams that were ranked higher coming into the event seem to be rising up to the top of the leaderboard, and you know, right now it's probably jockeying for position in terms of who's going to end up being the 1 seed and the 2 seed. As you know, in a page playoff, very important.
Extremely important, yeah, to get one of the top 2 seeds for this tournament and have that grace game.
Come on, you got it.
If you finish third or fourth, you're going to have to win 3 straight to win the title.
Good throw, Tara.
And that second guard from Rebecca Rogers ends up in the house. So Tara Peterson getting to throw a peel again. Makes no mistake. I think her hit percentage might be pretty close to 100 now.
Yeah, just enough of it, and she didn't want to stick around, so good shot there by Peterson. And Team Peterson in a great position again, playing in this ninth end with only one guard, and we're going to see a lot of this peel replace again in this end.
Think it will.
Sydney Mullaney playing the intern come around.
Good though. 15.
I still have to be very careful with Team Strouse with the 2 lefties of saying intern or outturn. I want to make sure I know which one of them is throwing. It's a 50-50 chance.
Tell me about it. I practice with them and I'm yelling, throw the outturn, and they're like, what do you mean? You're holding the broom for the intern.
Outturn peel attempt for right-hander Becca Hamilton.
Go.
Corey.
Good.
I will add also, Tyler, that not only are they left-handed, but they hold their hand in the opposite direction as we grew up holding our hand in Minnesota. So I got to also remember that.
What was the split there?
So back into this peel replace for Team Strouse and Team Peterson. Going to throw up another guard and then likely see another peel here for Team Peterson.
Just a 1. Split center. Whoa.
This rock will end up on the center line. Good high guard, making a double peel pretty much impossible to roll off as well. So simple execution now for Team Peterson. Becca Hamilton throwing the outturn peel.
Good.
And well made again.
Yeah, maybe for those
On
ones.
to third stones now.
The 1.
I don't think it's time to change gears quite yet. Still going to another high guard.
Yeah, I was just going to point out, if we don't have stats in this game, but if we did, I definitely believe we'd be seeing Becca Hamilton as quite possibly the highest shooter on the sheet. She's been really good this game, and once you get into that position of just being able to rip rocks, and that's something that's her bread and butter, and she does it well.
Mine's good.
And there are players with certain teams, Phil, that tend to be the linchpin for success. When they play well, the rest of the team feeds off of it. And I think Becca has that role for this team, that the better she plays, the better the team plays. And she's got a really good rhythm right now. And you can see the pace of the game that they're playing with. They're playing with confidence. Corey Teesey's a very steady player. There's not going to be a lot of peaks and valleys there. Tab, I think, kind of the same thing too. When Becca's on her game, this team is up there with the best in the world. And
Nice job, Cor.
she's really had a strong game today. And if she continues that through this tournament, we
Really
consider
good, Anna.
Team Peterson the front runner in the
Same
first
thing.
place. But for this team, they're looking for the national title. But as we always talked about too, our goals are not national championships; they're podiums at Worlds. And this team does have one of those already, and they're going to expect to do more of that in the future.
Yeah, no doubt. They took a different approach to the season this year. They took some time off this off season, didn't start the season till later in September, and really wanted to focus on peaking at the right time. And they look really well. They look really good this week, and we'll see if they can continue to do that.
Go like at the low. Oh, good. No, you're fine on it. It ended up perfect.
Sid's also a fun player to be able to have mic'd up and listen to. She's got a lot of great input when she's out there for a young front-end player.
A little bit.
Another peel there for Team Peterson. And we're finally going to see the chess game go in the house.
And it's kind of funny, Phil, and I know Team Strouse has had a decent amount of exposure on
fine.
the women's scene now too,
Yeah,
even
maybe
as a very
14
young
even.
team. But when you watch them here at the Nationals, usually this conversation with a relatively new team to the women's scene, it's about their future and it's about how excited we are to see what this team can do down the road. And with Team Strouse, it's almost more about, well, yeah, they have a bright future, but this team could win this thing right now. They're that talented, and you know, that transfer, the shift from the junior game to the women's game and contending for national championships and, you know, hopefully in the future podiums at Worlds and Olympics. It's really not that far off for them now, and it's an unusual situation to have that jump happen so quickly, where you're not talking projection for a team. You're talking about, can this team actually win this tournament right now?
Just a little deep on this, but still going to be in a
Good throw.
pretty decent position.
Yeah, the run doesn't really get as much. Well, if they go top 4, we're gonna have a hard time scoring. If they freeze in there, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's the point. We could come right around. Right. Down 2, it's fine.
So Ty,
Top button's good.
you're skipping hat on. Is you playing the draw here? You playing the run? You playing the peel?
I'm playing the
Yeah.
peel, Phil. You're up 3 with, and you're okay with giving up a steal
Yeah,
of 1
you're
right
trying to
now
go top
with this
button,
setup.
right? Yeah, but if it's heavy. Down
So
2,
if you
it's
peel that off, you're probably getting a draw to top 4s for Delaney. And then if you're tabbed, you peel that off, you give them 1 point. You're up by 2 with the hammer in the last end.
Yeah,
You just don't want to give up a
14-5.
steal
We'll
at
get
2.
you there.
And the only way you can do that is playing the draw here. So I would probably have a few words with my squad about this one if I'm Kathy O too.
Yeah, and I come from obviously a little bit more defensive a background, and I definitely would be peeling.
Well, you know, if
but
I'm saying play the peel,
7,
then
8.
probably want to do that. I'm
Yeah,
the same. I want to
right.
play that draw and end the game, but no, this is a scoreboard shot,
And
this needs to stop, or we may see that situation come up.
yeah, Strauss is going to have an opportunity here to lock another one in there and maybe get a steal at
That's
2.
right.
Yeah, if they go top button, dead buried under their own, then
13-4 on
it's going to be
top.
tough for Tab not to give them 2.
Yeah, definitely a learning moment there for Team
Three.
Peterson and for anyone at home, that when you have a
Top 4 now.
3-point lead and there's a center guard,
All right, 14-5 then? 14-4?
peel that center
Yeah.
guard, leave yourself the easier
14-4, 14-5 is
shot.
what I had in mind, so.
Even giving up 1 in this situation
No, and you
is
also-
never a bad thing.
Obviously you want to be
And it's
top
not
4,
even
but
that it's a
obviously, like,
3-point lead with Hammer.
second
If it was a
shot
2
is
or
pretty
1
good.
point lead with
Top
Hammer,
button,
you
okay.
might still play the same
I like
shot.
it.
Yeah.
You're still putting yourself in a
Still
position
putting
where you
yourself
have Hammer coming home no matter what. But definitely with the 3-point lead, you don't want to give any opportunity to get that extra point, because if you're Tab, just simplify it. Think of, if we're up by 2 with the Hammer in the last end, what are our chances of winning the game? And it's going to be pretty high.
You're not going to lose many games.
5, 6,
Sweeping for line here.
7. Got a curl.
Line's actually pretty good.
Maybe a little bit of a panic sweep on the line there because it looks good.
This looks really good.
Whoa.
Great shot. Dead, buried. Getting a little interesting now.
I mean, I think Team Peterson is likely just going to have to play an intern draw to the backing and maybe
Yeah.
just give them 1.
Yeah, I don't think they have a choice, Phil. You could never play the run because you actually could give 3 if you shot it straight back.
We're trying to go side button.
So there's no hit anywhere for Team Peterson. You don't have any choice but to maybe get side button for 1, but really
Side button?
more than likely giving up a steal of 1, but having to draw the 4-foot to do it.
13-5.
Can't say enough about the grit that
4,
this
5 number.
team
We'll get to
Team
it.
Strauss has. They never give up. Just keep battling.
So final shot of the 9th end for Tabitha Peterson. Needs to get
I do too.
almost full 4-foot
6.
to give Team Strauss 1
Whoa,
point.
running.
Stay close.
Whoa,
Looking
it's
for a
really running.
14-5 hog-to-hog tie.
And I don't think
6,
if
7.
it goes back to that
Stay close.
stone
Stay close.
in the back of the 8s
4-1.
that it would be shot.
It's just got to be 4 foot at least.
It's going to be real
Perfect.
close
Perfect.
here.
A little bit. Go,
She
go, go,
might
go,
make
go,
this
go,
for
go.
1.
Nice job.
Wow. What a draw. See, you can make them that good, then the calls don't matter as much. What a great shot. And that will be
It's
handshakes
handshakes.
or elbow bumps, whichever they prefer. But it's, Phil, in those situations now, it's such an easier conversation for Kathy O to have with them about that too. When you get out of trouble, you make it. Now that constructive criticism is a lot easier to take
Yes.
after you score and you win the game. If that one goes by, they steal 2. Then if they somehow had lost this game, then it's a lot more difficult to talk about it as the coach, and you still have to do it because you have to help them improve. But that conversation will happen. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, and they had a couple hiccups earlier in the week, as you brought up, Ty. Like, they were up 5 against Workin and gave up 4, and here. But when you're able to come out and execute a draw to the side of the button the way she just did, it just shows the confidence that Tab has in her draw game. She has no fear, and I'll tell you what, teams playing her the rest of the week are going to have their hands full, and they're going to definitely have to bring their A game.
Yeah, I've said over the last couple of years, as Tab has grown into this role, that the way that she carries herself as a skip and the game that she calls, everything else, I don't want to downgrade anybody else's accomplishments since, but I think she's our best women's skip we've had since Deb McCormick. And that draw game is the biggest part of it, that she can hit the side of the lid the same way that Deb could, basically in any situation. And she has the whole bag, but that confidence that she carries for her team doesn't get rattled, even after the game. If she has a rough one, it's just, yeah, okay, I wasn't good enough. I need to be better. But I really believe that she's shaped herself into a skip that can win a world championship or get on top of a podium at an Olympics, and has the teammates to do it as well.
Yeah, I agree. And, want to see her name a lot more.
So fun one to call, fun one to watch. The 2 undefeated teams that were left in the field. Team Peterson comes out on top, is now 5-0. Team Strouse at 4-1, still in great position to make the 1-2 game in this tournament. So for Tyler George and Phil Drobnik, signing off. We'll see you tonight for the marquee game, John Schuster and Corey Dropkin. I will be on the call with the man, the myth, the legend. He's now in the building, my good friend Mitch Billings. We will see you tonight for that game.